This episode of Review It is brought to you by Academic Pub, your book, your way. Visit them today at academicpub.com and follow them on Twitter at academicpub.
Welcome. I'm joined today by Richard Byrne of Free Tech for Teachers. And Richard, thank you very much for being here, lending us your perspectives as we take a look at some of the implications of the Blackboard Moodlerooms deal, which I think left a few jaws on the floor when it was announced. And we've all had a chance to think about it a little bit. Maybe there's some synergies, maybe not. What do you think?
Well, thanks for having me on. And so when I heard the news, I actually heard the news from you, and then did a little investigation, and then did a lot of thinking when I had 8 hours without wireless internet on the plane. I guess where I come from in this is that when I initially heard it, I thought someone had said Blackboard bought Moodle, and my initial thought was how do you buy open source, but you don't. And so I kind of followed up with that. Audrey Waters had a good point in that Moodle is, it's the software or it's the program, and there's a whole community built around it. And so Blackboard is kind of, are they trying to create their own community, or are they trying to eliminate a community? I'm not quite sure. And as a business model, I think it's a smart move for Blackboard, because I do talk to a lot of teachers who say, yeah, I want to use Moodle, but I don't have the time to get everything set up. I don't have the server space. I don't have this or that, or they just don't have the technical chops to do it. So on that front, I think it's a good move from Blackboard. I think one of my hopes is that people don't stop trying to use Moodle on their own. Because I think, one of the real strengths of Moodle is the community aspect of people pushing development and trying to develop new ways of using Moodle. So I hope people don't think that, Blackboard bought Moodle. No, they bought a Moodle hosting service,
right?
Hosting platform. So I guess that's kind of my take on it right now. And Moodle is. There's a little bit of a learning curve, and not everyone loves it, but it's a powerful platform. I kind of look at it as a lot like Linux. Linux is great if you know Linux.
Right.
But if you don't know Linux, you can still save your organization some money by using Linux and hiring a service provider who will maintain the things for you. And I think that's kind of the move the Blackboard is going with here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm hoping that we see actually, Blackboard's deep pockets become useful for the advancement of Moodle. And as you said, it's incredibly powerful, and the beauty is that you can DIY. It's great, but some enhancement of the interface, I'm sure wouldn't hurt anything. Especially as they people look at alternatives, and there's some emerging free stuff. There's emerging very reasonably hosted things. Maybe some extra flow will help. I see it as market differentiation, market segmentation. They've certainly done it with their Collaborate tool, but then allowing tools like WizIQ to be integrated with Blackboard Learn, because they're going to hit different parts of the market, and ultimately they're making money anyway. So what do you think, Kirsten?
So, not being like a big Moodle adopter, but however, I had a look at it and gave it a little bit of a try for my eTeachers Academy. So definitely it feels to me that the look is kind of old, I have to say. And on the other hand, if you're not necessarily that much into coding or developing, it can get a little bit complicated or maybe overwhelming. So a provider like Moodlerooms, I definitely get sort of their business model of making Moodle more beautiful, easier, that they help schools involved or maybe even individual teachers to set up their affair more easily and sort of give a easier user experience. So from the Blackboard side, I have been asking myself, as both the short TechCrunch article and your article, Chris, on ZDNet, points out that Blackboard has been acquired by this Providence Equity Partners, right, for a nice $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
So we have to ask ourselves, I think, if this is still a Blackboard decision of the people working or the founders of Blackboard themselves, or if this is more a decision of those private equity firms who want to basically get their foot in now both higher education, Blackboard, and the K-12 space with Moodlerooms or Moodle. As Richard pointed out, it's not Moodle itself, it's just this
provider,
company,
right.
and the other company they bought at the same time. So I think that's pretty smart. I think for Blackboard is what counts for them is that schools or districts sign with Blackboard, and then they can choose whether they want Blackboard, whether they want the Moodle solution, and I guess that's what for Blackboard what counts essentially. And as we pointed out in the previous weeks, that Blackboard had of course to realize that their numbers were constantly going down. I mean, they are still a very big player, but there are other alternatives. And maybe my last point, for other startups in the LMS space, well, they have a potential exit now as well. So
that's true from a business perspective. Yeah, well, Blackboard is very good about acquiring things. Unfortunately, in their history is kind of acquire and then grab the customers and take some technology and then move on. But in this case, I think. Blackboard's been trying to get into the K-12 space for a long time. I spoke with them at both ISTE and EDUKWEST last year, and they kept trying to make these inroads into K-12, and it just didn't happen because it's expensive and it's big and it's Blackboard and it's higher ed. It's really oriented towards higher ed. Now all of a sudden talk about an entrance, and particularly since Providence Equity Partners also acquired Edline, it is slowly kind of tying these two together. Edline has a huge following in K-12, and obviously so does Moodlerooms. It's certainly a kind of a unified educational strategy, I think, emerging. I think your point about Providence having a big hand in this, I think is probably quite insightful. So it'll be interesting to see how this falls out. Hopefully there's not any collateral damage on a powerful and really important community in education. Fingers across.
For me, it's also a little bit, how do you define the community aspect? Do I support open source by simply using Moodle? I'm not sure. So for me, I define it a little bit tighter. Let's say for me, contributing to the open source community is when I either develop the product further or I donate. And I don't know how many teachers or schools or let's make it broad, educators in general, did this for Moodle, or so therefore for me open source community is definitely important, but I don't count myself out of this group. I mean, it's the same for Firefox. How many people are simply using it as a free alternative, but how many are contributing to make Firefox, or in our discussion, Moodle better and make the experience better. And
Moodlerooms has been a long-time contributor, and they've committed to continuing to contribute monetarily to the development of Moodle. So another very good point. Richard, any parting thoughts on this?
I just want to add in that this could be, like both of you had mentioned, this could be good for development of Moodle itself. A lot in the same way that the companies that provide Linux services contribute to to the Linux community, and the idea that Android, with the Android devices, every vendor has added their own little tricks and tweaks to it to make it a little better user experience. So I'm hopeful that maybe that will happen with Moodle here with Blackboard. So.
Sure hope so. Well, Richard, thank you very much for joining us. Go
Thank you,
get some
Richard.
sleep after coming back from your conferences, and see if you can avoid a little bit of travel for the weekend.
All right, thank you.
Take
Have a
care.
good day.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.